Now that BT20 is well and truly out for the entire world, I thought it's time to give my Zephagamon deck a little bit of love and do another deck profile. Now, I've previously done a video from when I first built this deck and kind of made my own modifications on the ST18 starter deck, and then a little while later I did another follow-up video which was going over the deck that I ran for the regionals that were here in Melbourne back in November. But now it's time for me to update the deck and talk about the updates that I've made since then, as well as the updates including everything from BT 2.5 as in BT20. So let's jump in and have a look at it. It hasn't really changed all that much, but there are a few things that we can go over. So first of all, we'll go to our babies first. They've not changed at all, fairly certain at least. I still have 3 of the Fluffymon from EX7, which when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. And then I've also got the starter deck Fluffymon, which is you may suspend 1 other Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon. Now honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I could possibly just go for 4 of the EX7 Fluffymon just because I do prefer that extra memory. It's only during my turn, so if I block and delete a Digimon, it does in my opponent's attacking turn, I don't gain the memory. There are some Digimon that do, but this one's just during my turn. But I do feel like whenever I have the Fluffymon that is just you may suspend 1 other Digimon when attacking, I don't feel like I really ever use that too much. Compared to how much sometimes I just like the extra memory, because I do get to keep turn if I get enough memory. So I actually am thinking of now going to 4 of these rather than just 3 of them, but again, it is nice to be able to suspend it just if I'm attacking, to suspend something and then I can vortex into it once it's end of turn. But again, I feel like I use the EX7 one much more than that, and that's kind of why I've got 3 of one and 2 of the other. Next, in terms of my level 3s, of course, this is a me deck, which means that it's a green deck with green eggs, therefore I'm running BT14 Palmon. She's by far my favourite card, and it works really well in this deck, so this is the one, and I know I mention this every single time because I have this in all of my decks. I cannot stress this enough. If I have green eggs, I have Palmon. I'm going to have it in my Appmon deck probably because green eggs. So this is the start of main phase. 1 of your opponent's Digimon gains all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 2 memory until end of their turn. And it has the inherited effect of, while this Digimon will Digivolve, if you have a green Tamer, reduce the cost of 1. Honestly, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I don't find myself evolving Palmon that often. I feel like she's too good just to have there as a way to get memory whenever an opponent's Digimon is suspended. The good thing about this card is that due to the wording of when this Digimon becomes suspended, your opponent loses 2 memory, means that it's not affected by memory floodgates that say opponents cannot gain memory. Because I'm not gaining memory, my opponent is losing memory. So it's kind of useful there. It also, if I have both of them out, it means that I can potentially get Medieval Gallantmon if I suspend 2 Digimon and both those Digimon have that Palmon's effect on them. Then that means I can effectively play my Medieval Gallant for 5 if I've got 1 of the Palmon's effects, or 3 if I have 2 of the Palmon's effects. And I've done that, and it feels dirty every single time, but I honestly feel so good doing it. I'm like, hey, Palmon, help me out here. Because of Palmon's effects being start of main phase, if my opponent doesn't have a Digimon, I'll quite often just keep her in raising, just because I want that start of main phase effect and I don't want to risk losing her, because if she's only typically out on the field very briefly, because my opponents will try to get rid of her because her effect is just so annoying. Next to level 3s, we have the Terramons. So the first Terramon is when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with Bird Avian and its traits, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1, and then it has the inherited effect of all turns. When this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. So this inherited effect is similar to the Fluffymon from EX7's inherited effect, except for the fact that it says all turns rather than just your turn. So there's 3 of those, and then with our other one is the Terramon, which is another 3 of, which is on play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Again, this is a Digimon that I can effectively bring out for a cost of 1 if I have Palmon in play. And the inherited effect is this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP if it's my turn. Then we have our last level 3, which is the Terramon from the starter deck. This is a 4 of, and this is my searcher. So on play, reveal the top 3 cards of the deck, add 1 card with the bird, avian, and any of its traits, and 1 card with the Vortex Warriors or Liberator trait among them into your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Inherited effect, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So, pretty standard. I do like the searcher, especially because, like, it does find most of the deck. Of course, it doesn't find a few of the level 5s that I have, and it doesn't find the options, but other than that, I'm pretty much always getting a hit, except for the time where it's been like a Lilymon and 2 Rapidmon, or something similar to that. But again, the search is pretty good, always good to have a searcher. Next, for my level 4s, we have the first promo Galemon, which suspends 1 Digimon, and if it's suspending a Digimon, it gets plus 2000 to the end of the opponent's turn. It also has the effect of, if I have a Shoto in play, this Digimon gains piercing, which means that it can attack through a Digimon and do a security check if that Digimon is deleted. So this is pretty good, also because if I get that plus 2000, it means that it's less of a risk if it does pierce through an opponent's Digimon. I think at most I can make it 9000 DP, which is a little bit of a risk, but it usually is safe. I try to play a pretty safe-ish game, so I don't always risk it particularly, but it is there. I'll much often prefer to evolve into one of the level 5s and then attack. It does keep that plus 2000, but it loses piercing. But if I have my EX7 Shoto in play and it's end of turn, I've just activated it, it means it has piercing anyway. So that's not super important, but it is nice to have that risk. Sometimes I try to be safe though. And then of course, because it is a 2 cost and it suspends a Digimon, again, if I have Palmon in play, it's evolving for free, which is pretty nice. I like that. I mean, it's still evolving for 2, but then I get the 2 memory back, so that's great. Also, if I'm evolving onto the reducing evolution cost Terramon, I'm still getting that memory from the Palmon because it's evolving for 1 and I get the memory. So that's pretty cool, but it's the same for all my level 4s that suspend something. It means I can effectively evolve for free if I've got Palmon's effect there and I suspend the Digimon. Next we have the new Galemon, which I was really dumb until recently. I mean, I'm still dumb, but I'm less dumb. I've been educated. So my good buddy Sean said that, and pointed this out to me because I was completely just missing like a sentence from this card. So the card says, on play or when digivolving, you may suspend 1 Digimon. Then, if it's your turn, this Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with bird or avian in any of its traits in hand. For every other suspended Digimon, reduce this effect's Digivolution cost by 1. Now, the bit that I completely just ignored was for every. I was just always reducing it by 1, which was basically reverse cheating. I was making the game harder for myself. I was like, okay, I'll evolve to Grand Galemon for the cost of 2. Whereas I probably could have, in the majority of those situations, been evolving for 0. So, feel kind of dumb that I've been misplaying that so atrociously. I'm glad that's been pointed out to me, but I do feel really dumb. It's a good card. It was a good card when I thought it was just reducing the evolution cost by 1. It's even better when I've been effectively meaning to reduce the evolution cost for 3. I've been basically giving my opponent more memory than I should have. So that's pretty good. Inherit effect, same as the other Galemon. It's plus 2000 DP if it's my turn. So this is a great card. This is definitely needing to be a 4 of. Same with the old Galemon. It depends what I prefer to do. If I want to suspend a Digimon but again get that plus 2000, that's when the old Galemon is good for that. But if I really want to speed up and evolve as fast as I can, that's when I might want the new Galemon instead. And I think I probably prefer the new Galemon to the old Galemon. Next, we have a 2 of the starter deck Galemon, which has the security effect of if it's come out from security, you may play one card with Liberator trait and a play cost of 4 or less from hand or trash without playing the cost. I think I mentioned this in one of my old videos, but I, again, can't read because I'm a Digimon fan, and I was just thinking it's from hand, but no, it's from trash as well. So if I've got a Searcher Terramon, that's a good one to bring out because I get that search. But I was really silly, and I just was looking at my hand the entire time when I realised I could have also been playing from trash. This has Vortex. I'm not often vortexing with this, but it is nice to have if I really want to get rid of a level 3 that they have, or a level 4 and I've got more DP, but I'm not typically using the Vortex all that much for this one. Next we have our level 5s. We have a new-ish addition to the deck. I haven't really tested it that much, but Sean suggested this one to me. I'm not sure about it. Again, I need to test a little bit more. I did take out one of the Lilymon Aces for this, so I don't know, I still need to test what I prefer. So this is the one that's limited to 1 anyway. It's BT20 Argomon. It's got Digisorption 3, which is when this Digimon digivolves this card from hand, you may suspend one of your Digimon to reduce the memory cost of this Digivolution by 3. And then it's got the when attacking of you may play 1 green level 3 Digimon card from your hand suspended without paying its memory cost. Now this is pretty good because it means I get out a Searcher, it means I get out any of my other level 3s. I can suspend one of my opponent's Digimon if that one comes out. I get a search if that one comes out. Again, it's not something I've really tested that much, but I can see the vision. I can see how it could work. I'm not really sure if I use it and it works really well for me, I'll keep it. But if not, I'll just go back up to having 2 of the Lilymon Aces, or maybe even an extra Rapidmon from the starter deck. Again, time will tell, but this is like kind of a new addition, and it helps me get more bodies on field, so that's pretty good, I guess. Next we have 4 of the EX7 Grand Gale. This is one with Vortex. When digivolving, you may suspend 1 Digimon. If this effect suspended one of your Digimon, this Digimon isn't affected by opponent's Digimon effects until the end of their turn. This is really good because I like having that protection. It means that if I can't get to any of my level 6s in this turn, I can hopefully keep this Digimon in play until next turn and then get my level 6 out. So that's pretty handy, especially because I can evolve into the Zephagamon Ace with it if someone attacks into it or attacks me in general. So that is good. Of course, it still dies to options. So an option card that says like delete this Digimon or what have you, that still affects it because it's only Digimon effects. But otherwise it's pretty good. It does also suspend an opponent's Digimon if I want, but I don't get that protection if it suspends one of my opponent's Digimon. And I've often just suspended itself to give it protection. If I've got Palmon on the field, I will always suspend Palmon because she's just kind of there for her start of main phase effect anyway, so she doesn't need to be unsuspended. It does make her a target for being attacked, however, but sometimes keeping my level 5 out there and protected is more important than that. And again, it has Vortex, so I can Vortex into something. I play a pretty safe, like non-risky game. I won't typically swing with anything that's got low DP. Of course, if it has the buff from Galemon's when digivolving effect, maybe, but otherwise I try to be pretty safe, though it does have potential to be much bigger because of all the inherited effects of the plus 2000 DP that we have throughout the deck. Next we have the one of Lilymon, and this is the Ace. I don't think I use her that much as an Ace. In fact, I don't think I use her that much to evolve into her anyway, because her when digivolving is also an on-play. So her on-play / when digivolving is I can suspend one of my opponent's Digimon, then I may return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with 5000 DP or less to the bottom of the deck. And this is only a 4 cost, so again, obligatory if I have Palmon out there and her effect's active, I can suspend a Digimon and I can get a level 5 out there for a cost of 2. So that's pretty decent. Again, it is an Ace, so it does have the overflow of 3 if it gets deleted, or leaves the battlefield rather. But again, it is pretty good to have like something just to suspend things if I have nothing else in my hand that does that. And also, a lot of the time with this deck, I try to not let my opponent have any board, any semblance of anything going on there. So I kind of try to limit them as soon as they start playing Digimon and try to get rid of anything that's a low level before they get to high levels. So, and that's just kind of my playstyle, so getting rid of a 5000 DP or less Digimon, that's very helpful to me. That's pretty good. And also, again, if I really need something to suspend, I've got the Digimon Ace there. And again, it is an ace, but I feel like I'm hard playing it more than I'm evolving into it, or if I'm acing. In general, this deck, because it can get so fast because of the new Promogalmon, I'm finding myself getting to level 5 too quickly to ever have used as an ace anyway. Again, if I'm not fond of how Argomon's doing in this deck, I might just go ahead and put it up by 1 and keep it as the 2 it was prior, but I'm also a big fan of the Rapidmon, so keeping Rapidmon up as well is totally something that I can do, but I do like the Lilymon Ace being there. And another level 5 that I could be using, but I'm not really a huge fan of, is the starter deck Grand Gale. This one, on play or when Digivolving, you get a level 3 out there, which is fine, but I'm not really a huge fan of it. Doesn't have Vortex, however, but again, I'm not a super huge fan of the Grand Gale. Or something else I didn't mention was Grand Galemon's inherited effect, which is when this Digimon attacks your opponent's Digimon, it may unsuspend. That's very handy. You can basically unsuspend, and then if it's still your turn, you can attack again, especially because you can attack again after that if you have Shoto, because Shoto lets you unsuspend a Digimon. Anyway, back to level 5s. Rapidmon is my last level 5. On play, when Digivolving, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. And then if you have a green Tamer until the end of your opponent's turn, your opponent's effects can't delete this Digimon or return it to the hand or deck. This one, again, very good. It's nice to have a level 5 with protection. That I find very useful, because if I can't get to level 6 in that turn, it means that it might stay around long enough for me to be level 6 next turn. It also has an inherited effect, which is very useful, especially because a lot of the time I'm going to be, when I'm level 6, attacking into my opponent's Digimon with piercing. So because it has the inherited effect of when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of their security stack, and then if I have my EX7 Zephagamon out there, I'm doing 2 security checks, so I'm effectively getting rid of 3 security pretty easily, and 1 doesn't even do a security check because it's just trashing the top of the security stack. That's very, very handy. I do like that. Again, honestly, this could be a 3. It is one of my most useful cards. There's also the fact that it can be hard played for 7, and you can de-Digivolve a Digimon. I've hard played this similar to the Metal Tyrannomon in my Dynamon deck. I've hard played it just so I can de-Digivolve an Ace, get the memory back a little bit, and I do have a level 5 if I'm really, really bricking, or if I need to get a little bit of a board state up. That's sort of something I've done a few times. Again, same with my Dynamon deck, same with Metal Tyrannomon, who effectively has a very similar effect. Next, we have our level 6s. I have Medieval Gallantmon. I run 3 of these. It was 4 until Zephagamon Ace came out, but honestly, I wouldn't go down to anything less than 3. 3 is good, 4 is great. If you don't have Medieval Gallantmon, I would suggest trying to get them, but if you really don't, you can just go for 4 of the Zephaga from EX7 and I guess 1 of the Zephaga from the starter deck, or just an extra Zephagamon Ace, but in general I find that the starter deck Zephagamon's not as good as the other level 6 options for this deck. So Medieval Gallantmon, I mentioned this a little bit before, but you can hard play it for 7 if you play it and then suspend 2 Digimon. Another thing is that this Digimon, if you play it, it actually sees itself for its all turns. So its all turns is once per turn. When Digimon are played, you may activate 1 of this Digimon's when Digivolving effects. And the when Digivolving effect is you may suspend 1 Digimon, then you may delete 1 of your opponent's 8000 DP or less Digimon, and for every other suspended Digimon, add 3000 to this Digimon's DP's deletion effect. So if I've just played it and then suspended 2 Digimon to reduce the cost, so that the cost is now 7, or I guess if I have Palmon out there, 5 or 3, depending on how many Palmons I have, I can delete, so two extra suspended Digimon is 6,000, so 6,000 plus 8,000 equals 14,000, or yes, maths. Then I can delete a 14,000 DP or less Digimon. That is great. I love that. And again, that is also the when digivolving effect, so if I'm not hard playing it, I'm just evolving it for the evolution cost of 3, I can still delete some Digimon depending on what the DP is and how many other Digimon are suspended. Again, it does suspend something with its when digivolving anyway, so that's pretty cool. Very good at 3. I don't want to go down to more than 3, honestly, but it's really useful to have. It also has Alliance. It has Vortex, so Alliance means I can get, if I suspend another Digimon, I can attack, get security attack +1 and the combined DP. And Vortex is obviously you can attack at end of turn, and you can Vortex the same turn it was played, so if I've just hard played it, I can Vortex straight away. And again, you can Alliance Vortex as well, which is pretty cool, especially if it has Piercing, which if I have the X7 Shoto, I probably do. Next we have our Zephagamon Ace. This is the new one, of course. This is from BT20. It's an ace, so it's got the hand counter. It also has a bunch of mechanics. So it's got Piercing, Vortex, Blocker. Oh yes. So it basically has all the effects that the X7 Shoto would give it. It has the all turns of when any Digimon suspend, this Digimon may unsuspend. And its on play and when digivolving is you may suspend one Digimon. Then for every 2 suspended Digimon, you may return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. This is very good. It also evolves on top of not just level 5s, but also level 6s if they've got the Vortex Warrior trait, and the evolution cost from a level 6 with the Vortex Warrior's trait is just a cost of 1. So this is a 3 of. I started with it as a 2 of, and then was like, nah, it's so much better. It needs to be a 3 of. I even took out the Paladin mode Ace for this one because this one is, it goes with the deck a lot more. I do kind of miss the Paladin mode Ace, but it is what it is. Then we have the X7 Zephagamon. Again, I always say that I prefer this over the starter deck one, which just gives immunity, because this one is much more aggressive. It gives me security attack +1, has Vortex, and when digivolving and when attacking, you may suspend one Digimon. If this effect suspended your Digimon, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Again, if I've got Palmon out there, I'll suspend Palmon and then I'll get to return an opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. This is good because sometimes if I'm a bit scared of an ace, it means that I can bot deck whatever Digimon I'm scared of evolving into an ace to the bottom of the deck, either when digivolving or when attacking, which is cool. And that's not once per turn either, so I can do when digivolving, then do when attacking, and if I'm unsuspending, I can then do it again. So I'm either suspending a lot of Digimon or I'm bot decking some Digimon depending on what my board state is. So those are my level 6s, and we don't have any level 7s because we got rid of the Paladin mode. Next on to options. Agility training, reveal top 2 cards, get a green card from it, has the delay effect of reducing an evolution cost by 2. Pretty standard, they're pretty much required in every deck. Next we have a green scramble, reduces the Digivolution cost by 3, and then delay. If your opponent has a Digimon, return 1 green Digimon card to the top of your library, and if you don't have a Digimon, you get a 2000 DP or less from trash without paying the cost. Pretty good to help you regain board state there. And then we have our Tamers, the new Shoto, which I'm still not sure of. I do like the fact that I can get a 4-cost Shoto out at some point later on in the game. If I'm really struggling to play that, I don't want to use 4 memory for that. So by returning this Tamer to the bottom of the deck, I may play 1 Shoto from my hand without paying the cost. Then if I don't have a Digimon, I may play 1 level 3 Digimon card with Avian Bird and its traits from the trash without paying the cost. So this is really, I need to get my board state back up and, you know, get some stuff out. Also, I could just play another BT20 Shoto off it if I really just want it for the extra level 3 if I'm struggling with the board state. And then end of turn, and this is quite useful, by suspending this Tamer, suspend one of my opponent's Digimon, and until end of the opponent's turn, one of your Digimon with Vortex Warrior trait gets plus 2000 DP. This is useful because if I have a bunch of these inherited effects that give me plus 2000, I have only that beef up during my turn. This is until the end of the opponent's turn. So if I have a Digimon like Medieval Gallantmon, which the reason why this card isn't super broken is because it's only 11,000 DP. It's effectively easily removed, especially if it's suspended. So because people can just attack into it, which happens. I often lose Medieval Gauntlet the turn after it was played. So just getting it up to 13,000 is pretty decent, especially if I have 2, I can just like give it double beef up. And also, it means that I can suspend one of my opponent's Digimon, which means I can Vortex into it if need be, so that's pretty decent. Then we have the EX7 Shoto, which is goes up by 1 memory if my opponent has a Digimon, and end of turn, by suspending this Tamer, the Digimon gets Piercing and Blocker, and if it's Vortex Warrior, it unsuspends. That's pretty useful, especially because it means that I can Vortex into something, and if I have Grangalemon's Inherited Effect, I also get to unsuspend it from there. So I can have an unsuspended Digimon after attacking, so I can attack, unsuspend, then attack with Vortex, and then unsuspend because of Shoto's effect. Pretty decent there. Because of that, I've gotten rid of, I think it was 4 security on turn 2, because I had my EX7 Zephaga out there, I got rid of the security, and then unsuspended, and then I could Vortex, and I think it was, in this case, it was, I Vortexed, and then I got memory back, so it was my turn again, and then I just normal attacked. So that was another reason I could do it. I can do it the reverse. So again, super easy to just unsuspend things. Lastly, we have the memory setter. This is 1 me games, surprisingly, so I don't want to do it less than 2, and it's 1 me games on the fact that I can attack an opponent's Digimon and then change the target to another Digimon or player. So I've won games with this. I don't think I want it any less than 2, but I also don't think I want it any more than 2 because it is a 4 cost. Yes, it's a memory setter, but I find that I'm using memory setters less and less, but it has 1 me games there. So anyway, that is more or less all the changes I've made to it. I can't see changing this up too much, except if we ever get any more Grangalemon's, that'd be cool. I don't think we'll probably be getting any more Liberator support for Shoto anytime soon, but I do need to test about Agumon a little bit more. Maybe I'll even go back and test some of the starter deck of the Grangalemon's. Again, I'm not a huge fan of that card, but I guess, you know, that's what testing's for. The only thing about the level 5s is that I only have 4 of those, which are the Liberator or Avian trait. All the rest are, you know, Mutant or Cyborg or Vegetation, so a lot of them don't get found by my searches for the Terramon. Obviously they do get found by agility training, but again, it also means that I can't evolve into it with the new Promo Gale, because the only Digimon that I can is Grangale. So there are a few limitations there, but in any case, I'm pretty happy with this deck list the way it is. It can be pretty fast, but it can also brick me pretty easily. The ratios are pretty normal in terms of level breakdowns. I've got 12 level 3s, 10 level 4s, 8 level 5s, and then 8 level 6s, but the reason why the level 6s are so high is because of this Zephagamon Ace, which effectively doubles as a level 7 because it evolves onto the other level 6s being Medieval and Zephaga. So anyway, that's my deck list. Let me know your comments, questions, etc., etc. in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this deck. Let me know what kind of other deck profiles you'd like to see me use. Again, I have built a lot of decks. Some of them good, some of them Agumon. Maybe I'll do a deck profile on that one day. It's not good. It's not good. It will not win you any locals, but at least you'll have someone going, oh, Agumon. That's interesting. But in any case, that's it for this video. Again, like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc., all that good stuff. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!